Hi everyone, I'm Anthony DiFiglio, and today we will be reviewing John Petrucci's new solo album, Terminal Velocity. Is it better than suspended animation? Let's find out. Before we get into the video, if you are new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and click the bell. I will be posting more Dream Theater and John Petrucci guitar covers very shortly. Now, let's get to the review. So I generally don't do album reviews on this channel, but I've decided to come to the conclusion that maybe that actually fits within my niche, so we're going to try something new and hustle our way through this. So 15 years ago in 2005, we got John Petrucci's very first solo record called Suspended Animation. Masterpiece, really good record. And today, what I'm going to do with this album review is I'm going to kind of go through each song. Like, I'm not going to play snippets of the music because that's what I want you guys to do, or I encourage you guys to do. But what I'm going to do is, I'm going to like kind of describe, and give you kind of like what to expect for each track on the album. And at the end, I'll give you an overall score and a final conclusion. So we'll start now with track 1. So the very first song that starts on this album is actually called Terminal Velocity. I remember when hearing this song as a single prior to the album's release 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I gotta say, it is a great single. I mean, John Petrucci did not make a mistake by making this the very first single prior to the album's release. I mean, it hits hard, it captivates your brain's interest, it really just grabs your attention, This song is easily a 10 out of 10 alone. I mean, musical masterpiece. It's just, I'm in awe. It's just incredible. Highly recommend it. The second track on this record is called The Odd Father. We were brought into this track after Terminal Velocity is over, and this one is incredible too. I mean, it starts off with this very cool, atmospheric, kind of like exotic sounding vibe, and then it just kicks into like your typical like progressive rock, progressive metal, Dream Theater style riff that's like kind of influenced by Rush. It's kind of a flashback, but at the same time, within the modern age, it's just reinvented. Very good. Everything from the bluesy phrasing here and there, the melodies, the blazing fast arpeggio sweeps at the end. This will blow your mind. I mean, really good song. I mean, I don't know much more what to say about it, but in my opinion, this is another 10 out of 10 track. So the third song that we get into after The Odd Father is done is actually called The Happy Song, aka Cloud 10. I heard this song 2 years prior when I saw John Petrucci open up for Joe Satriani on the G3 tour in 2018 in Orlando, Florida. Absolutely amazing. I mean, this song on the album, hearing this was like, even though it was only 2 years ago, was just such a flashback to me of when I went to that show. It just really strikes a chord, and it's one of those songs that I can listen to whether I'm in a good or bad mood. The melodies are beautiful, they're breathtaking, and just the fact that, he even changed up, some of the solo parts, the guitar solo parts, I mean, for like the solo section is just impressive to me. And at the very end, he adds like an extra like melodic shred section, I believe, when I heard it, and I was just amazed. Although this song is still a 10 out of 10 on the album, I would say that if you are going to listen to this song too, definitely check out the live version. It's even better. So after the happy song is over with, we get into a song called Gemini, which is very unique and great in its own way. Gemini kind of starts out with this really like melodic emphasis in the beginning, and then it's just very riff based, and it just really hits you, but in a different way. It's one of those things where it's so impressive with all the articulation that John Petrucci put into this individual song at least. It just sounds really good. There's a lot of technical aspects that I could learn from it musically, and then later on in the song, after this huge progressive transition that you would hear normally in Dream Theater and his solo stuff, you kind of experience this really cool Latin-based like exotic atmosphere with these like ascending like acoustic sounding or like classical sounding arpeggios. I don't even know how to describe it, but either which way, it's like a different side of Petrucci I never realized that he would have ever done on an album before. So hearing that for the first time was very like pleasing, especially for Petrucci being my biggest inspiration. So after the track Gemini is over with, we get into a track called Out of the Blue. This track really surprised me. The reason I say this is because after I clocked off from my day job yesterday and I got into my car, I instantly plugged my phone into my aux cord and I played this song through my car speakers on the way back from work. And as I'm hearing it, I'm in just this nice, mellow state of mind because it starts out so soft, something that maybe you would hear on a Santana record. Like, it's just it's filled with phrasing, it's filled with lots of melodic emphasis, lots of feeling, you know. And then all of a sudden, my attention is, you know, being grabbed because all of a sudden in the song, well, later on in the song, I mean, sorry to go a little over dramatic there, there's this, it just goes distorted and shreddy out of nowhere. And Petrucci does what he does best, and it puts this track better than I thought it was actually going to be. I knew it was going to be good, but this track, like I said, it surprised me. It amazed me. It, like, you know, because it starts off all like jazzy, bluesy in the beginning, and then all of a sudden it turns like shreddy in like minutes away. I mean, honestly, this is probably one of my favorite songs on the album. It's absolutely incredible. I don't see how, you know, anyone could not like it. I mean, honestly, I would even say that if you're not a Dream Theater fan or a John Petrucci fan, that you would probably like this. So after the song Out of the Blue is over, we are then transferred to a song called Glassy-Eyed Zombies. This was another song I heard 2 years prior to the album's release live on the G3 tour. And, you know, still awesome. I'm not sure whether or not I would say the live or the studio version is better, but they're both like incredible in every which way. This song is like, you know, just like I remember it, you know, very good. I absolutely like this track. Starts off with this, you know, really like, you know, Petrucci riffage that you would normally hear, and then all of a sudden it just turns shreddy later on, as always. I don't have too much to say about this song, but I can tell you this. It is worth the listen, and it is a 10 out of 10. So the next track on the album is called The Way Things Fall, and I can tell you this. This song is not The Way Things Fall. This song is The Way Things Rise. This song is another solid song on the record. It starts off with a really catchy, you know, riff in the beginning, and then all of a sudden it just starts off with some really nice catchy melodies that you would expect from a Dream Theater record, and then all of a sudden the solo on this album blew me away. You know, very chromatic, you know, not trying to go too theoretical for those non-musicians, but, you know, very chromatic, you know, very outside sounding, you know, like you would hear on other Petrucci solos, but just overall incredible. I know I've said incredible a lot, but it really is incredible. So after The Way Things Fall is over with, we get into a song called Snake in My Boot, and this is a really good track. It starts off with a kick drum in the beginning, and then afterwards we're brought into this White Snake, like Led Zeppelin kind of like rock and roll riff in the beginning, and it does grab your attention, you know. And honestly, if I would have never heard of John Petrucci or never heard this song in general, I probably would have mistaken it for a White Snake or a Led Zeppelin song in the modern age. I mean, really good riff in the beginning, but then it's one of those songs where, you know, another great solo happens, you know, the song structure is there, and the melody is there, you know, it just has an overall good vibe, you know, check it out, 10 out of 10. After Snake in My Boot is over with, we get into the last track, which I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right, so please don't laugh at me in the comments. Temple of Circadia, I believe is how it's pronounced, but please let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. Anyway, this is like easily the heaviest song on this album. I mean, really good, you know, as always. You know, it has that, you know, driving force that you would expect. You know, kind of a flashback to like Jaws of Life from like Suspended Animation. You know, it's just one of those songs that's just a banger, and it just, you know, it gives you goosebumps because of how heavy and how articulate it is. Between the verses, we have some, you know, kind of chugging going on with some melody, something that you would maybe kind of expect on Suspended Animation, but also kind of expect on like Dream Theater's Dramatic Turn of Events. It has some similarities there, but in its own unique form. And then after that, it goes into like an acoustic kind of interlude, and then we get the most surprising solo, or one of the most surprising solos from the album. I forget how long this solo is. It feels long though, but when I first heard this, it was another track that I could not stop listening to because of how much of a hard-hitting song it was. You know, it's almost like Jaws of Life, but in the modern age. Well, in 2020, so. I mean, so yes. This song, of course, is a 10 out of 10. Great closer, great way to end the album. Absolutely worth the listen. I mean, it's just masterpiece. I can't say enough. Overall, this album is a modern masterpiece here in 2020. In fact, I would even argue that this is the best thing that ever happened in 2020 due to the pandemic and all the quarantine. And it took a long 15 years to get another solo album from John Petrucci, and honestly, this was worth the wait. What a masterpiece. I can't stress it enough. I mean, 9 tracks that are quality over quantity. There's not one song that's bad. There's not one note I would change. This album is easily an 11 out of 10, if there were such a thing. I mean, everything from the solos, the melodies, the riffs, the composition itself, the song structure, everything is just perfect. This is a flawless record. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a big Petrucci fan. If there was one bad song, I would tell you if there was a bad song or a mediocre song. Not one song on this album is mediocre or terrible. Every song is near or perfect. Like I said, this is a flawless record. Go listen to it right now. But before you go, a lot of you are wanting me to answer, Anthony, is this better than Suspended Animation? Honestly, in a lot of ways, I would say yes. From the title track, the happy song, Temple of Circadia, Out of the Blue, Gemini, Glassy-Eyed Zombies, this is just an overall killer album. You know, like I said, there's not one song on this album that I would change. There's not one note I would change. It's flawless. Suspended Animation is very flawless too, I would say. But honestly, I kind of think I liked this one more than Suspended Animation. I'd have to re-listen to his first album again, but honestly, they're both great in their own individual ways. No right or wrong answer. They're both neck and neck to me. They could tie, and if one's better than the other, it's by a hair. I mean, honestly, they're both quality over quantity, so it's very tough to say, but I would honestly say so far, I think it's better than Suspended Animation. Overall, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, click the notification bell. I will be posting some guitar covers soon from the Terminal Velocity record, so if you'd like to hear that, don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you are new, be sure to spread the word, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, and have a good day.